Good afternoon, Reinhardt fans. Welcome back to the Players Lounge. We have released the 2020 signing class here at RU. This is Mike DeVader, joined by head coach James Miller. This time we're going to take an in-depth look at our 26 new student athletes here at Reinhardt. And Coach, we're going to dive into this. We're going to start with the offense, and how about the guys up front?
Sure. We were able to sign, I believe it was 6 offensive linemen from all different areas across the state. I'm going to actually start with the kid from out of state, Mr. Carr. He's a big joker, 6'3", 300-pound guy out of Auburn High School in Auburn, Alabama. He was a 7A first-team All-State guy. He's very physical, has very good feet. Just a very talented football player that I think, especially once he gets ingrained into our weight room and the way we do things, his best football's in front of him. But he is probably, of all the O-linemen we sign, he's probably the most gifted pass pro-wise of any of them. He's the most ready from a pass protection standpoint. He's got feet like Trey Coney, very similar movement skills as Trey had. So very excited to sign him. The next guy we signed was Sam Hill, a very interesting guy. Sam is at a Burke County High School. He was over 400 pounds his junior year. He got all the way down to 335 pounds his senior year. And you can tell the difference between his junior year film and his senior year film of the way he moved, how physical he was. His skill level as a football player increased tremendously with the weight loss. It was a huge advantage for him. I mean, for a guy that's somewhere between 335 and 340, he can really move. He's going to be a road grader. He's going to be a down blocker, like we like to say, a down blocker. Really excited about his future. He's got an excellent punch. Just a big, strong, physical kid. The next guy we signed was Christian Morgan. He's at Dalton High School. He's 6'2", 290, extremely explosive. He's probably the most explosive O-lineman in the class. You can just see his punch off the football. If you pull up his highlight, he's got a lot of punch right out the gate. He can really knock you off the football. And came from Dalton High School, very well coached by Coach Mayo at Dalton, same school as Jake Brock, who's currently on our team. And just a very physical offensive lineman. That's what we look for on film. I think we can teach them to pass protect. We want to see guys in the run game really be physical. That's what we're finishers. When I watch offensive lines and I watch other offensive lines throughout our conference or on TV, the thing I look for more than anything are they finishers. And that's what Christian and Sam and Carr bring to the table. Is they're all finishers. They're all guys that can finish people in the run game, and that's exciting. We also signed Marquez Washington out of Burke County. He's 6'1", 270, and he's going to be a tackle for us. And he's another guy that was physical at the point of contact. That was an extremely gifted guy that, again, like his teammate, I don't know if it's a thing at Burke County, maybe we need to get on that. He lost close to 30 pounds between his junior and senior year, and you could really just see the improvement that it made for him on the football field. So really pumped that he came. The next one is Austin Sullins. He went to North Hall High School. Austin is a kid that came out of a school where they run the football. And like we talked about already, we want our guys to be physical. We want to be able to run the football because that's what we're going to do here. And he's right down that alley. He wants to be physical. He's hard-nosed. When he came on campus and I saw him for the first time in person, I said, man, that's Ian Schumacher. He looks just like Ian. He's got the same temperament as Ian. they're like spitting images of each other. And I remember when I worked Ian out, I told Ian, I said, you got a long way to go past pro wise. And Austin's kind of in that same mold. Austin is, I think, ready to go from a physicality standpoint. He's 6'3", 275 pounds. He's big and strong. He's got a big, thick lower half. He's got a huge trunk from his butt to his thighs. Just a really well put together young man. And but from a pass pro standpoint, that's where he's going to have to really develop as a college football player. And it will come. It's just going to take time. Some guys don't do a whole lot of that in high school like he does, and we don't do a whole lot of that. But he's going to have to learn to do that for us to be successful. And then we got a center at a Habersham Central, Mr. Wade, Joshua Wade, who is 6'1", 270, extremely smart kid. He's a wrestler, and I like guys that are wrestlers. I think it teaches you balance. I think it teaches you leverage. It teaches you how to refit and regain leverage, which is important for an offensive lineman. So we were very, very fortunate to get him. He's a hard-nosed kid. And that's kind of the thing with all these guys we sign at this position is they're very tough. They're very hard-nosed. They take the game very serious. I can't be. I'm extremely blessed and extremely ecstatic to add this group to what we already have on campus, because we're a very talented group on campus, and I think this group, plus with the guys we have on campus, is really going to make us a tremendous asset for our football team. So really, really blessed to add all those guys up front.
Absolutely, and then you kind of talk about how we are getting some guys that know how to run the football, because that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And because we do that, we got a handful of running backs and all kind of different backs that are coming to this campus, kind of going to those skill position guys and what they're going to bring to RU.
Absolutely. We really wanted to add to our slot position. We got a slot that lines to the tight end. We got a slot that lines away from the tight end. And I feel like we hit on a couple guys that align to the tight end. Meadows out of Howard High School down in Macon. He's a running back. He's about 5'10", about 175, 180 pounds. The thing that makes him is he's so versatile. Javassier is a very versatile player that can run the football but can also catch the football. And he plays physical enough to be a really good blocker for us. And at that position, you got to be able to do all three things. You got to be able to help us in the pass game. You got to be able to run the football when asked to do. And you got to be willing to block, because if you ain't going to block, you ain't going to get the rock. So you got to be able to do all three of those things. And I really think Meadows can do all those things for us. Scored 29 touchdowns in his career. Had over 600 yards rushing his senior year in a similar type offense that we run. They run the wing T there. We run the wing T here. So he has a pretty good idea of what we do and how we do it. So very excited about him. Then we were able to add Jay Sean Kirby out of Jeff Davis. He's going to be a B-back for us, kind of in the backfield, that bigger running back. He's 5'10", about 200 pounds, extremely physical with the football in his hands. He's a downhill guy, and again, he comes from an offense that's very, very similar to us. They run the strong belly, we run the strong belly. So he's kind of ingrained in what we do and how we do it, and it's not going to be something new for him. So that's what really excites me about him. And then we were able to add Terrence and Torrance Roberts out of Ridgeland High School. Two guys that have good speed on them. They're both very talented. I think Terrence was the 6'4" region player of the year, ran for over 1,000 yards. He's going to be a Z-back for us. Physically gifted young man, and Torrance is the same way. Both of them are well built, well put together. If they walked in the door today, you would think they've already been lifting in our lifting program and already ingrained in the culture. Two kids that I love being around. They come from a great family. up in North Georgia, and we're very excited to have both of them. And then we were also able to add Isaiah Dorsey out of ARC, and he's a running back that's going to be a B-back for us and have the ability to get downhill and run some people over. But very, very, very blessed to add all these guys to this mix. The Roberts brothers, Kirby, Meadows, Isaiah Dorsey, all very good football players that I think can add to our running game, but not only to our running game, have the ability to add it through the air as well. And they're physical guys with the ball in their hand, but also blocking.
Now, before we move to the defensive side of the football, you did mention a couple interesting facts there that not very many teams go through, and I believe we have 4 sets of them. We're seeing double vision this year, as we have 4 sets of twins that have been recruited and are coming to Reinhardt.
Yeah, I've never recruited this many twins ever. Ever. One guy I actually didn't mention with the O-line, and I apologize, is one of the twins, is Micah Moten, who comes from one of the, and I don't know how I could forget him, he comes from one of the best programs in the state, Carrollton. They were 12-1, I think lost in the semifinals to Buford in a tough football game, but he's a bowling ball. He's one of those guys you roll down the lane and he's going to knock somebody out. But it's been one of those years where for some reason we were on a bunch of twins, and I don't want to say they were package deals, but it was we were very blessed and very fortunate to be able to get both of them, and it was kind of cool because you had to you're recruiting both of them, and it's been interesting. It's going to be hard because some of them look exactly alike, and it's going to screw me up. Like it's really gonna mess with me, but it was fun. I think we actually had one more set. We didn't end up getting them, but there was one more set of twins that we missed out on. So it could have been 5.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. I've never heard of such thing.
Never.
Okay, now transitioning to the defense, we're probably going to start right down the same path and look right up front at that defensive line.
Yeah, we were able to really add some really talented guys to this group. Tony Duffy out of Fitzgerald, he's probably the strongest guy in the state. Pound for pound, he is a physical specimen. He bench presses over 475 pounds. He's 5'11", 313 pounds, but he can move. He played both ways for Fitzgerald. He never came off the field. Played all snaps on defense, all the snaps on the offensive line, and didn't want to come off the field. Asked to do that. That's what one of their coaches told us when we went into the school and sat down with Big Tony. But he's a quiet kid that loves the weight room. He's going to love being in here with Coach B because Coach B is going to get him even bigger and stronger than he already is. So I really can't wait to get him on campus. And then we were able to add 2 really good defensive ends in Jamal Mahan and make sure I get his first name, Calvin Isaac out of Cairo. Calvin's 6'1", 235 pounds. Really good guy at the point of contact. You could tell he comes from a program that really cares about the weight room because he is really well put together. From a physicality standpoint, he could possibly be ready to play. It's can he handle it all mentally? But he's got a good first step. He's a guy that I think we're going to want to play on a tight end because he's so big and long and physical. And then Mahan, he was a guy that we targeted very early on. I think he was the first recruit I went and saw when the season was done in person. And he's one of the first guys we offered out the gate. He's got a great first step. I think he can add something to the pass rush game. I think that's where he can really bring something to the table. And that's if you can do that, if you can rush the passer, if you can affect the quarterback, that's going to have the ability to get you on the field quicker. And I feel like he's one of the kids that really can do that. He's got an excellent first step, and he's very, very quick, and excited about him. Then you have the other Moten brother, Malachi, who and like I said, I get them confused because they look exactly alike. But Malachi is like his brother. He's a bowling ball. I think he's going to end up moving inside to maybe a 3 technique or either playing a strong side in. I think he's athletic enough to do either one. But he's a big, physical, strong-looking young man that, again, physically looks ready. He's got, what guys talk about, it's kind of a buzzword, the bubble. He's got a big old butt, big old thighs, well put together. You can tell he's lived in the weight room at Carrollton, which those guys, they really get after it there at Carrollton. They put a lot into the weight room, and you can tell. So, really excited about him. And then we also added Bryce Bryant out of Dawson, which is not far from here. I think right at about an hour. 6 foot, 275-pound kid that can move. And I think he had 128 tackles his last 2 years in the program, and had over 50 tackles for loss and 6 sacks. So really excited that he was able to be added to the mix. It's a group that from a physicality standpoint is big and thick. And we added another guy. We actually signed 3 guys out of Burke County, which those guys over there do a tremendous job. Coach Parker does a tremendous job coaching them and gets them ready to play. We added Dukes, who's sawed off. He's 5'10", but he's 315 pounds. He's gonna eat the A gap, and that's what we want him to do, is just eat the A gap. Don't let anybody in the A gap. Don't let anybody out of the A gap. And I think he'll have the ability to do that for us. So a really, really, really talented group. I really believe that's where this whole thing starts, is up front. And if you can't win on both sides of the line of scrimmage, then you're not going to win many football games. And we're always going to recruit our butts off on both sides of the ball up front, with our D-line and with our O-line. And I think, we did a tremendous job on each side of the ball with those guys up front, and I'm really excited about it.
Well, and I'm really excited as well that we have weightlifting coming up next at 3 o'clock here in the afternoon. As you can hear, some of the players are getting together, so we're going to wrap this up with one more question, Coach. Ever since we've been here, especially me, the last 3 years, Reinhardt has had one of the best defenses in the country, not only because of the lines of scrimmage, but the speed on the back end of the defense. So kind of talk about the linebackers and anyone else that's coming to Reinhardt that's going to live up to that expectation once again.
Absolutely. We added a kid. We had him in summer camp. His name's David Wingfield. He's from Eagles Land Christian, who's 5 years in a row state champion. So he's come from a winning tradition. Very talented guy. He's about 5'9", 5'8", about 170 pounds. For Eagles Landing, he played corner. He played linebacker. He played over the slot. He played man-to-man. He played zone. He had 7 sacks on the season. Very, very talented football player. And in camp, we loved him in camp. He worked with Coach Blue. Coach Blue really liked his work ethic and the way he got after it every single play. So pumped about him. Then we added Tadarius and Ladarius Davis out of ARC. Tadarius is a linebacker, 6 foot 210. We also had him in camp that we did over in Macon. Can really run. Very, very good speed. Has the ability to go sideline to sideline. Really like him. And then Ladarius is the DB. He'll play in that dog position for us and bring some versatility to that. He's a bigger, thicker dog than maybe we've had in a while. He's 5'11", 195 pounds. Both those guys are really well put together, come from a good program. And then we have the other Dorsey twin, Israel Dorsey, who's going to be a linebacker for us that will position. We want a lot of speed in our linebacking core. Those guys got to be able to run sideline to sideline, and that's what Tadarius and Israel Dorsey do. They have the ability to run sideline to sideline, and have the ability to move in every direction with tremendous speed. So really excited about them. And then Troy Artis, a local kid out of Milton, just down the road in Roswell, is another talented. He's in that linebacker dog role that have the ability to do those things. One guy that I forgot to mention before we end is Gilstrap out of Southwest DeKalb. He's a big physical running back, 6'1", 185-pound running back out of Southwest DeKalb. And he's going to add something to the run game just with his physical prowess. He's a bigger back that's going to be hard to tackle, hard to bring down, and excited to add him. All these guys. Again, I can't thank my staff enough. I can't thank Coach Pop, Dr. Mallard, everybody involved in this thing that give us the ability to do the visits from our cafeteria, from our admissions department, Miss Denisha over in financial aid, who was over here every single weekend helping us out. Everybody that's been involved in this thing has been a tremendous help. The wives that let these coaches come here on the weekends. People don't know how much goes into this, how many phone calls you have to make. We've had over 110 kids on campus since the season's ended. It's a grind to get these kids to be able to sign. And I couldn't do it without Coach Jones, Coach Cheatham, Coach Lindemood, Coach Williams, Coach Blue, Montrellis Mosley, Dawson Mitchell, who are going to be graduate assistants for us. Everybody's a part of this thing, and Coach Scott, Tommy Scott, who's doing other things right now, but Coach Scott's been tremendous, and I'm just blessed. I'm blessed to have the staff that I have that works so hard to make this thing happen, because it is a tremendous class that I know are the right fits for our university from an academic standpoint. I mean, 19 out of the 26 kids we signed are over a 3.2 GPA, and very proud of that. And they're going to be a fit for the university. They're going to be a fit for our program. They're going to be a fit for the community and how we do things. So I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, thanks again for an in-depth look at our guys. 26 new players coming to Reinhardt here this fall. But we are going to wrap up this show as the weight room is about to get even louder as these kids get to work right here on campus. So for Coach James Miller, I'm Mike DeVader. For more information on Reinhardt football, please tune in to ReinhardtEagles.com.
Pay the price.